Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, The 3 Building Blocks of a Successful Buyer Business with MAPS coaches Lance Loken and Sarah Detmore. Just to let you guys know, this webinar is being recorded and you'll automatically receive a copy of the recording an hour after the call has ended. Additionally, everybody is currently on mute. If you do have any questions for your coaches, please use the questions box in the webinar taskbar to your right. At the end of the program, they will open it up to answer some of the questions in the questions box. Lastly, if you do have any administrative questions, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That is fasttrack@kw.com. That's all for me. Lance and Sarah, take it away.
Okay, hello everybody and good afternoon. This is Sarah Detmore and I am here with Lance Loken, and we are excited to partner with MAPS Coaching today to talk to you about the 3 building blocks to a successful buyer business as an intro into this 90-day buyer challenge. So we're so excited that you guys have joined us today and looking forward to sharing with you these 3 building blocks of a successful buyer business that have been super successful for our buyer business here at the Loken Group, right, Lance?
Yep. How is everyone?
So we are ready to just introduce ourselves real quick. So like I said, I am Sarah Detmore. I am the VP of the buyer agent team here with the Loken Group in Houston, Texas. I'm also honored to be a MAPS Mastery one-on-one agent coach, and also, of course, partner with MAPS to be a group coach as well. And Lance, why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Sure. I'm right now running the Loken Group, and we've been in business since 2011. This year, we're on track to close 2,700 transactions, and we have 91 people on our team. And the really cool thing is, Sarah Detmore has been on this journey with us almost since the beginning. And so you're going to be able to have the expertise of Sarah growing and building the entire buyer department, because she's the one that's been here since we had 2 buyer agents all the way up to now when we have 10 buyer agents and we have 2 buyer partners. So you're going to see the evolution, and the best part is you're going to have the expertise of Sarah.
And you get Lance's amazing side commentary, which is great because, like Lance said, he and I have been in partners in business for almost 7 years now.
Yep.
And I was luckily the 8th person to join the Loken Group back in 2013. And now we have 91 people on our team. So through exponential growth, of course, in order to continue producing at a very high level, our team has had to evolve and adapt and, of course, implement some very specific systems and a way to grow our buyer business to really the capacity it is now with 10 buyer agents. By the end of next year, we'll have 15. And so we are on a trajectory for growth based on the systems and fundamentals that we started out with. So we're going to share with you today a couple things about our program first, the 90-day buyer challenge, and some things that you'll be able to take away from this program when you choose to join us for our startup date on October 9th, which is a Wednesday. So we're going to talk about some buyer agent specific scripts and lead generation sources. I know oftentimes Lance and I hear that, agents often feel like the only way to lead generate is for listings. And as a buyer agent on a team, or a buyer agent who's looking to grow into a lead buyer agent space on their team and grow that buyer business, we want to focus on some very specific buyer lead generation sources. We'll, of course, talk about hosting successful open houses, and in combination with becoming the local economist of choice for your buyers. We talk about, we spend a full day on talking about the setting your clients up for success by executing a powerful buyer consultation, right? So if you take nothing else away from this webinar today, just know that you must always do a buyer consultation before you jump and run and show your buyers houses. And we'll talk all about that in week 4 of our 90-day buyer challenge program. Some proven systems we'll share for buyer lead follow-up. We go into detail with a full session on the showing assistant model. Some of you on this call may also know of Jen Davis, who is kind of the one who pioneered the team within a team model, and we'll talk some about that as well with the leverage of a showing assistant. It's an 8-week program with a bonus follow-up webinar course, our main target is buyer agents. However, if you are a rainmaker who is interested in building out a buyer business, this program will be great for you as well. And of course, all the calls will be recorded, and you'll receive recordings upon sign up, just like Corey Lynn mentioned at the beginning of this this webinar. So let's go ahead and get started with some good information. And this is really block one of the 3 building blocks of building a successful buyer business. So Lance, why is it important for agents to have goals?
Because without goals, all you are is a dreamer, you know, and so many people think about wanting to do something. They tell people they want to do something, but they never write it down and actually post it someplace to have it as a focus. And you need to have it so that you can articulate your vision to the world.
Sure. And why do we, with the 90-day buyer challenge, what's important about the 90-day cycle?
So from the moment that you pick up the phone and start lead prospecting until the time that you close on the property, we have found that that becomes a 90-day cycle.
Yeah, so from lead capture, I guess, to close, and Gary Keller will say this too. Some of you may have heard him talk about this in detail on stage at Mega Camp or Family Reunion this year. Real estate works in a 90-day cycle, from that very first dial, that very first contact with that lead, through the follow-up process to get the appointment, from the appointment to getting the buyer under contract, and all the way through closing. On average, it's about 90 days. And what I love about us talking about goals right now is because October 1st is in less than 2 weeks. And Lance, when does our next year always start?
October 1st.
October 1st. So if you are looking for a way to really beef up your 4th quarter, and not only your 4th quarter of this year, also your 1st quarter of next year, now is a great time to take this course, because in the next 90 days, we are going to provide you with systems and scripts and just information that you can put into your business immediately to get the results that we all want, which is ultimately closings, right?
Yep. And you know, one of the activities you could do before the course starts in October 9th is look back at the history for you guys that have been in the business multiple years. And I can almost guarantee you that your business is much lower in January, February, and March than it is the remainder of the year. And I can almost guarantee you that you probably took off half of November and December so that you can enjoy the holidays and enjoy your activities. When you're running a business, business doesn't stop. And so we're hoping to build your business in such a manner that you're doing the activities October, November, and December to guarantee you a high level of business in January, February, and March, so that you're not playing catch up the entire year because of your bad start.
Yeah, and like Lance said, a lot of realtors have the bad habit of just disappearing in the 4th quarter, and the first cold front comes through, Starbucks puts out the pumpkin spice latte, it's football season, and everyone chooses to stop working, which is great for those of us who do also work real estate in the 4th quarter. We can capture some market share. Yet the whole point of this, guys, is really think about what your goal, what you intend to accomplish in the next 90 days, specific to your buyer business. If you're a brand new agent, your goal might be, I want to have my first closing, and that's great. We want to get you there. Your goal might be that you have a buyer team of 5 and you all want to achieve 3 closings. Whatever your goal is, let's get clear on that goal, right? Having a goal and really getting clarity on your goal is going to be the first building block to building a successful buyer business. So a few other questions that you can ask yourself are, what might be holding you back from building a big buyer business? What tools do you need in your tool belt to break through your limiting beliefs? Oftentimes that looks like you're lacking a system or lacking a person, right? Some type of leverage to break through some limiting beliefs. What's your mindset around working with buyers? Lance, how often do we hear people say buyers are liars?
All the time,
all
every
the time,
day.
all the time. The goal here being that we want to, give buyer agents the confidence in knowing that working with buyers is equally as important as working with sellers, right? There's no difference in being a buyer agent versus a listing agent. It's a different piece of business, yet we can work both sides of the transaction in a very efficient way to get the results that we desire. I jokingly tell people that buyers will allow you to show houses as often as you'll let them, because they will. They think that they're on TV, they think they're on HGTV, and they think it's fun to see houses. And then one day you wake up, you've shown a buyer 50 houses and wonder what you're doing with your life. So just really consider what your mindset is around working with buyers and what may have to change within your mindset to build that big buyer business. And how many units will you add to your business in 2019? And what action plan do we need to accomplish that goal? So again, time-wise, with our program launching on October 9th and Lance and I just talking about how real estate's in a 90-day cycle, now's a great time to get clear on not only what you want to accomplish in the next 90 days when you sign up for our program and join us for the next 3 months, it's also, have you already planned your business for 2020? Here at the Loken Group, we are doing our big planning advance next Tuesday on September 24th. And so we can have everything in place by October 1st, because October 1st, we hit the ground running for 2020 goals. And what's interesting about that, you guys, is when we have that clarity on 2020 and start working towards those next year goals on October 1st, we just naturally get a fourth quarter boost in our business, don't we, Lance?
Yes, we do. Absolutely.
So again, the first building block of a successful buyer business is just knowing your goal and having clarity on that goal. Okay, so let's talk about the second building block, which is really just a few key points on setting your buyers up for success. And of course, in the 90-day buyer challenge, we go through these different steps, setting your buyer steps to set your buyer up for success in detail. So we already mentioned that we'll talk about lead generating for buyers. That looks like sign calls, web leads, door knocking, open houses, your sphere, client referrals, and agent referrals. We'll talk about some best practices and systems for some strategic lead capture and follow-up, how to define an A, B, and C buyer, and where to focus your energy and attention on these buyers without burning out, of course. We will talk in detail about the buyer consultation, you guys, and the importance of setting your buyers up for success with a very powerful consultation, and not only setting your buyers up for success, but setting yourself as the agent up for success and making sure that you're setting the right expectations and providing your clients with all the information necessary at the very first meeting in the consultation to make sure that you everything's a win-win moving forward. And then a couple other things here. We'll talk about home shopping, right? Think about how many homes you're showing per buyer right now that you're working with, and think about what it could be like when you already let your buyers know at the consultation that all of your clients find their right home in the first 4 to 5 homes that they see. How different could that how different could that make your business, and how much more efficient could that make you when you are showing 5 homes or less to one buyer before they're going under contract? And that just goes, again, back to expectations and strong communication. We'll talk about the contract to close process, what that looks like from a systematic standpoint, who on your team you can leverage some of that activity to, because naturally, and to no fault of our own, buyer agents aren't often that great at paperwork, and my hand is up with you guys. I'm terrible at it, and that's okay. And so looking into your organization now to see who can do those things for you, right? And then we'll talk about closings and really the opportunity at the closing to ask the client for a referral, what those scripts look like, what happens once the client closes, where does that information go into your data bank? Of course, you'll notice throughout this program, Lance and I will say data bank instead of database. And why is that, Lance?
That's because that's where the gold is, that you need to mine your data bank on a consistent basis, and you should be getting no less than 10% of your business from your data bank.
And maybe your goal for the next 90 days or even for 2020 is to get 10% of your business from your data bank, right? Some of you who were at Mega Camp may remember that there was a whole panel about the importance of having a data bank. And oddly enough, Lance's wife, Karina, was on stage with Gary, and she asked him what her one takeaway was, or one piece of information to share with the crowd about having a database, and she just flat out said, you got to have one, right? So having that data bank and some best practices around working it at a high level could really produce some strong results for you guys in the next 90 days, and of course in 2020 as well. And so the third building block of a successful buyer business is tracking your numbers. And so I speak from experience when it comes to tracking numbers, and through the help of my MAPS coach, I was actually able to get really clear on the best way to track my numbers with my buyer team here at the Loken Group. And when I was still a producing agent, and tracking my numbers was something that was never important to me as a buyer agent, I just always told myself when I did the work that I knew the business would show up, and it did for a very long time until it started to not show up, and I couldn't answer why. So not only tracking your numbers, but understanding why buyer agents track what they track. So one question that we often hear, and something we'll talk about in detail in the 90-day buyer challenge, is what metrics should buyer agents track? And that could look like you tracking the number of leads your organization gets, the number of appointments set, appointments kept, buyer representation agreement signed. Some people refer to that as a buyer broker agreement. That's fine too. Whatever it is, as long as it's the commitment that you receive from the buyer to know that you're moving forward with them as their realtor. You want to track the number of offers that you write, the number of your files that go into pending or go into escrow, the number of closings that you have, and the number of GCI or your amount of GCI.
And you should be tracking no less than every single one of those categories.
Right, and you could even expand on this further and track the number of showings that you have every week, the number of buyers that you show, the number, we have offers written here. Yep, sorry. We got that. Track your dials, track your contacts. For those of you who have been through Bold 2.0, you know that the way we track contacts has changed. It's no longer a voice-to-voice conversation about real estate. It is either voice-to-voice, text-to-text, email-to-email. Any kind of two-way conversation that you have with somebody about real estate counts as a contact, right? We'll talk about the difference in lead measures versus lag measures and why it's important to track both. But like Lance mentioned, as a buyer agent, and you can look back on the 4 conversations for that KW offers as far as a tracking system goes. You know, you see here on the slide that says use Keller Williams CGI tools. That's the 4 conversations for a producing agent, and that looks like tracking appointments, agreements, closings, and GCI. We won't know where the opportunities or gaps are in our business until we start tracking our numbers consistently, because you guys, the numbers tell a story. So that third building block for building a successful buyer business is going to be tracking your numbers, and also not only tracking them, but knowing what to track. And like we said, with the Keller Williams CGI tools, we've got the 4 conversations, we have the pipeline report. All of this is available for every KW agent at your fingertips. You can go to kwconnect.com and log in with your KW ID, and there is a drop-down menu at the top that'll take you to the CGI calculator where you can track your goals as well. All right, you guys, so we want to encourage you to join us for our 90-day buyer challenge. Again, it starts on October 9th. It is a Wednesday. The program will take place between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesdays. It is an 8-week program with a bonus webinar at the 90-day mark, and we do it that way because we want to provide you guys with enough information to where you can start to implement things immediately. And after the 90-day mark, which of course is 3 months, then we want to do a check-in webinar with everybody to see how things have been implemented in your business and what your results are, right? Lance and I are here to be your coaches for the next 8 weeks, and we want to share your successes with you as well. So you can visit mapscoaching.com/group and look for the 90-day buyer challenge. Click on sign up. The cost for the program is $298, and we trust that we will see all of you there. So we have a couple minutes left before our time runs out. We'd love to do some Q&A. So if anybody has a question, you can drop it into this question box right here. Lance and I are a pretty open book, so we'd love to answer any questions that you have about working with buyers, any questions that you have about this group program, anything that you'd like to share. We've got a couple minutes to go over some questions, so drop them in this box. Lance and I are here for you. And Lance, anything you want to add to all that?
Nope, I'm super excited about this course because it has really changed the trajectory of our buyer team.
Okay, let's see here. So will the 90-day program go over leveraging showing partners at all? Absolutely. We have, I believe it's week 7, 6 or 7 in the 90-day buyer challenge. We do spend a full session talking about the showing assistant model. Here on our team, we refer to them as buyer partners. I know other agents refer to their showing partners as a showing partner. I've heard showing assistant. I've heard all kinds of ways that you can refer to that piece of leverage, yet that is definitely something that we spend a great deal of time talking about in this program. What would be your number one piece of advice for a buyer's agent starting in the new year on a team? Ooh, Lance, take a shot at that one. Best advice for a buyer's agent starting on a team in the new year.
Pick up the phone and start lead generating on day one. Practice your scripts and role play on a daily basis, and expect to hear the answer no on a regular basis and be fine with that.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, buyer agents don't handle rejection very well. Yet a no always gets us to a yes, right, Lance?
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, and so my suggestion for that, Kayla, would be for an agent joining a team, page 55 of the book Shift. If you guys haven't read the book Shift by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, I would definitely recommend it. Page 55 talks about identifying your lead source zone, right? Because no matter what, as agents, our number one priority will always be lead generation, guys. And so it can be easy for agents to default to wanting to go call expireds and call FSBOs and do these things that seem like they generate the most results based on what people say on panels and on stage at KWRI events. Yet the purpose here in identifying your lead source zone is honing in on the type of lead generation that you know that you will do at a very high level. And so Kayla, back to your question about best piece of advice for a buyer's agent starting the new year on a team. Find out where the team's buyer business came from in 2019, and I'd say the one or two highest percentages of business for the buyer side, use that to the advantage for the buyer agent and have that buyer agent focus on lead generating to those lead sources, because that's where you're going to see the biggest return.
Yeah, and I mean, if you haven't taken bold, there's a ton of bold scripts out there for talking with your sphere. And you can talk with your market center and get scripts from them. We use the bold scripts on a daily basis.
We do. And some of the scripts we'll share with you guys are from bold. We have some that are our own. We have a whole menagerie of scripts that we can share. Let's see here. Another question is, what are suggestions on how to work your sphere if that's more relevant? So again, coming from Shift, actually it's Shift or MREA. No, it's MREA. There's a picture of a bullseye. And for those of you who don't know what I mean when I say MREA, it's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Oddly enough, also written by Gary Keller. Surprise, surprise. Page 137 of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent is about the strategic model for generating leads. And it all starts with your allied resources and your sphere. So for a new agent on a team or just a new agent in general, not only identifying the successful lead sources for buyer business that are already working for the team, you can never go wrong dialing through your sphere, you guys, and touching your sphere on a regular basis. Do I need a lead source? Let's see here. Do I need a lead source like Boomtown for my buyer leads, and is it cost efficient? I would like for Lance to talk about Command and how cost efficient KW Command is.
Command's going to be awesome, especially for individuals. You can be on Command right this second, and then you're going to be able to be on Command for teams for 7 or more after October 1st. The key thing is, when you're starting out as a buyer agent, you need to be as cost effective as possible, and that is picking up your phone and calling your sphere. That is the best ROI on your team, and it's probably the most uncomfortable as well. So you need to gamify it. Call your sphere and say, hey, I'm doing a contest to see how many referrals I can get on behalf of our team. Can you help me out? You've got to gamify it in the beginning, because you're going to be uncomfortable talking to your sphere and friends, and then get out of your comfort zone and start calling the new people. At the end of the day, you just have to pick up the phone and call people.
Yeah, and I love that Lance shared that, because that really is the first step, is picking up the phone and calling. So a couple of more questions here before we wrap up. When we said Agreement signed, is that the contract you have with the buyer to represent them? Yes, that's correct. We refer to it here on our team as a buyer representation agreement. I've heard other people refer to it as a buyer broker agreement, yet that is the commitment form that we have signed by our buyer, solidifying our fiduciary duty to represent that client to the best of our ability. Let's see here. Can we describe what we will dive into in the program on proven systems for lead follow-up? Sure, Meredith. So week 6 in our program, we talk about tackling web leads and lead follow-up. And I don't know if you've ever heard of a follow-up system called the 10 days of pain. We used that years ago with the Loken Group for web leads that came in. We would do a series of contacts over 10 days, different styles of contacts, of course, with the goal of getting that web lead to respond. As you guys may be aware, sometimes web leads are not super responsive. So that 10 days of pain campaign really helped us in driving some responses from those web leads and then converting them. Historically, buyers will agree to an appointment or a meeting in between the 5th and the 12th follow-up. So that 10 days of pain follow-up system was really successful for us back in the day. Let's see here. When I start building a buyer's team, should I start with a showing assistant or a buyer's agent? Lance, what do you think about that?
I think when you're on a team and you're starting to build out a team, the first thing that you leverage is anything that costs you $20 or less an hour. And I would first write down every activity that you perform on a daily basis and then see what is going to be the most cost effective for you, and then start leveraging out. You should already have a transaction coordinator if you're working on a team. So that shouldn't even be a thought. The showing partner has been extremely beneficial for the people on our team. It's not necessarily to grow income, it's to buy back time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll talk about, like I said, in quite a bit of detail. It is session 7 of our program. We spend a whole session talking about leveraging a showing assistant and how that can impact your business. And the reason we save it for one of the later weeks in our program is because first, we want to talk about all the things that buyer agents can do right now to maximize their business before they jump into leverage. I think oftentimes agents default to leverage first, yet if they haven't mastered what they should be doing as a buyer agent and maxed out on what they can accomplish, they may be able to double their business without having to pay for leverage. Let's see here. All right, you guys, well, I think that's all the questions that we have, and we are actually out of time for today. So thank you all so much for joining us. We trust that you got some value from this program. Don't forget to join us for our 90-day buyer challenge. Again, it kicks off on Wednesday, October 9th, 8 weeks plus a bonus week. So you actually get Lance and I for 9 full weeks of talking all about buyers and how to make buyers your best friends, and while also getting them under contract and closing quickly. If you have any questions, feel free to check out mapscoaching.com/group. There's information on the program there. Of course, you can always email me. My email address is Sarah, S-A-R-A-H, @thelokengroup.com. Have a great day, everybody. We will see you guys on October 9th. Bye.
Bye.